Few big updates for the Arizona Cardinals heading into the last week of the 2024 season, getting ready for their Week 18 opponent in the San Francisco 49ers. And guess what? We know most of the 2025 opponents for the Arizona Cardinals. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. All right, everybody, let's go and get started here. We got a few different updates to keep you guys informed in the 2024 Arizona Cardinals. Now, if you've been living under a rock or if you've been checked out, the Cardinals have one more game left, and that's against the San Francisco 49ers. And I believe it was yesterday or Saturday, they ended up releasing the actual schedule on when our Week 18 matchup is going to be against the 49ers, right? We already knew it's going to be the 49ers, but it was listed as TBD for quite some time because obviously with playoff implications, the NFL wants to make sure that some games are on specific time slots for everybody to watch, right? Especially when you have like the division on the line. Unfortunately, with the Cardinals being the fact that we did so far, end off the season at 1-5 after the bye week, there's no more hope for the playoffs, right? So I don't think this game's really too much big implications other than let's see if Marvin Harrison Jr. can crack the 900-yard line mark, and then who's going to be at the bottom of the division, right? Because this feels like 49ers or the Cardinals, who's going to be at the bottom of the division. Like, that's what this game kind of feels like. But to kind of keep you guys informed on when this game's actually going to be on, it's actually slated for a 4:25 Eastern time start. Now, for the Arizona people here or the people that are living in mountain time like myself currently right now, it is going to be the 2:25 p.m. slot, right? So for the Eastern, 4:25 p.m. slot. For the mountain time, it's going to be 2:25 p.m. start time. So let's see what happens there with the Cardinals. I'm not sure if you're hoping for a win. I'm not sure if you're hoping for a loss because of obviously draft compensation. But for what it's worth, we know exactly when the Cardinals will be playing in Week 18 to end the 2024 season. And like I said before, let's just focus on 2025 moving forward. And now for the draft pick, the Arizona Cardinals currently right now are sitting at the 14th overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft. So for what it's worth, I know a lot of Cardinal fans want to get defensive players from the jump. We need to upgrade that defensive line. We need to upgrade pieces on the defensive line in general, although they have exceeded expectations for a lot of Cardinal fans, including myself. I definitely think we very well need help, right? Now, for the 49ers and Cardinals game, we have an opportunity to either obviously finish at 14 or better, right, if the Cardinals lose. So we can be somewhere along the lines of maybe like, I guess just it depends on what happens because the Colts are sitting at 7-9, the Dallas Cowboys are sitting at 7-9, and the Cardinals are also sitting at 7-9 as well. But the San Francisco 49ers right now are 6-9. So if for an example, the 49ers end up beating us, obviously we fall down the draft pick. So it all kind of really seems to kind of hinder on where the Cardinals are going to fall in this, this 2025 draft order. Right now, we're sitting at the 14th overall after Week 17, and we'll have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out, right? So there's that. Now, let's talk about the 2025 Arizona Cardinal opponents. Now, I want to be very clear. This is not the schedule. This is not the schedule. The schedule usually comes out around, so it's going to be in May in 2025 is when the schedule is actually going to be released. This is just letting us know what opponents the Cardinals will be playing. So in case you want to maybe start planning your away trip, you know what I mean? Obviously, you don't know the date yet, but if you want to start planning the away trip, you can definitely very well do that with your family. So here's this. Now, right now, we have the most we got most of the opponents in 2025. There's 3 of them that are kind of TBD right now, but we're going to be dissecting on maybe who I would like the Cardinals to play because they do give us the division. So let's go and first start off here with obviously the elephant in the room, the division matchups that we already know we're going to play, right? The Rams are going to be 2 times because it just happens as a division. The 49ers is going to be 2 times and the Seahawks is going to be 2 times, right? No shock there. Happens every single year. But let's talk about teams that are coming here to Glendale, right? Because we know who's going to be home games and who's going to be away games. That we don't know the date yet, but that's the first one I'm going to tell you guys right now is what I'm saying. So it's the Atlanta Falcons. So we have the Atlanta Falcons coming into State Farm Stadium. not really an exciting matchup, but what I've noticed so far looking at this list, I feel like there might be more wins just based off the schedule alone or based off the opponents. But let's continue, right? So the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers are coming into town, so hopefully we can get some revenge on them. We don't know what the state of the Carolina Panthers are going to look like next year. I know they're probably going to be rolling with Bryce Young just because obviously that's the best option they have currently right now. He's actually hit a pretty good stride and he beat us. So for what it's worth, he beat us. And then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars coming over to State Farm Stadium as well. Tennessee Titans coming to State Farm Stadium. And then here's where the TBD is. There's going to be an opponent coming here from the NFC North, right? So they give us the division, but they don't give us the specific team. Now, obviously, that's TBD. They're going to have to wait until maybe sometime in January or February. They're probably going to release the official opponents from like the NFL. I'm just getting in front of it, right? Because a lot of websites know around who we're going to play, but there is those wild cards that we don't quite yet know, right? So the NFC North, we're going to be playing somebody there. Now, that can be anybody like the Vikings, right? Which we had a really, really close game against. Unfortunately, they beat us. The Lions, which we were pretty close with them as well. The Packers, which absolutely obliterated us, and the Bears, which we absolutely obliterated. So I hope that it could be the Bears. I feel like that would be really cool, but let's call it like this. It's probably going to be like the Vikings or the Lions for the Cardinals. But I would love the Bears, but it's cool anytime we play against the NFC North. I feel like it's a really, really good competition, nevertheless. So, for the most part, to recap, who's coming home and playing here in State Farm Stadium? Obviously, the obvious ones out there, 49ers, Seahawks, and then Rams, and then you got the Falcons, the Panthers, the Jaguars, and then the Titans, and then a TBD NFC North team, right? So there's that. Now let's talk about the away games. I feel like the away games are a little bit more exciting, to be honest with you, this year. You got the Houston Texans. So we did actually play them in Stroud's rookie year, and Stroud's he's really good quarterback, man. I know he's been struggling in his sophomore year, and they're calling it a sophomore slump, but he's still a really good good quarterback over there. So there's CJ Stroud that we're going to be playing. We're going to Houston, and then the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to be going over to Indianapolis, and then of course the Rams, the Seahawks, and then the 49ers, the obvious ones. And then we're going to be going to New Orleans. I feel like that's going to be a really, really exciting one to go to New Orleans and play the Saints over there in the Superdome. That'd be super, super cool. So there is that. Tampa. Also Tampa. So we're at Tampa Bay. We're also going to, so hopefully Baker Mayfield versus Kyler Murray. Usually Kyler Murray's got Baker Mayfield's number, but I know the Buccaneers have been hitting a really, really good stride. And then you got some 2 TBDs as well. So, we got the divisions, but we don't know the opponents, right? So we got 2 of them. We got one of them from the NFC East. So that's going to be anybody like Philadelphia, the Cowboys, the Giants, who's that other NFC East team? That's for some reason escaping me as well. Oh, I'm sorry, the Commanders. Wow. How did I forget that? The Commanders. So maybe Cliff Kingsbury. He most likely will get a head coaching job, maybe with the Bears. If not, if he remains the OC, then that might be an interesting thing as well if we go over to DC and play over there, right? But like I said, that's just speculations. We don't know, but they're telling us right now that it will be an NFC East team. Now, on another side, we got another TBD as well, and that's going to be the AFC North. Now, this is going to be a very tough division from top to bottom to play, but overall, the schedule doesn't look so bad. I'm sorry, not the schedule, but the opponents don't look bad, right? But let's take a look at the AFC North here, right? You're talking about the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bengals, or the Browns. Hopefully it's the Browns, right? Hopefully it's the Browns the Cardinals play. But at the end of the day, those are going to be the opponents. Now, like I mentioned a little earlier, if you really look at the opponents for this year compared to 2024, this is a much easier opponent list than we had this last year. We started off this last year with a freaking juggernaut, right? And there were some teams that we didn't think that they were going to be good. They were good, and the Cardinals ended up either A, getting blown out by them, or B, unfortunately losing in a very, very close game. So there's that, right? So the Cardinals right now, I feel like per the opponents, we might have a better record, because of who we're playing. But obviously, it really just depends on what happens in 2025, right? If we're able to bolster up our defensive line, especially that edge position, and actually get an X factor, or maybe get a really good diamond in the rough, a rookie in this year's draft class, that would be really cool. But the defense really needs to be shored up, man. We need to get some really good pieces on the defensive side of the ball. I still have faith in Jonathan Gannon myself. And for the people out there that want Drew Petzing fired, I don't know if it's going to happen. The only way I would probably seen it happen is if the Cardinals got blown out by the Rams and got blown out by the 49ers. Now, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with the 49ers right now, but it doesn't really feel like Petzing's going to get the axe. Now, if he does, obviously, we'll climb that bridge when it happens, but as of right now, I think he's pretty safe. I think whenever you're hearing any of them speak, none of them are worried about their job, and I'm talking about, obviously, JG, Petzing, and then obviously Kyler as well, because there's a lot of people out there that want the Cardinals to cut or trade Kyler Murray. But I think that the intention is to go into 2025 and try to run it back, whether you agree or not. It's going to be the decision of Monty Ossenfort, and kind of knowing how this regime does things. They're probably going to lean on the side that we progressed, right? From a 4-win team to a 7-win team, potentially 8-win team with the 49ers. And we'll have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out, ladies and gentlemen. But let me know here in the comments below, what are your excitement level? Obviously, we talked about the draft pick. We talked about when the Cardinals Week 18 matchup is going to be versus the 49ers. And then obviously the opponents here for the 2025 season. Now, I want to be very clear again, this is not the schedule that will be released in May of 2025. This is just the opponents and the Cardinals who we're going to play. We're most likely going to get the full list of the opponents maybe sometime in January or maybe even February. But I have seen some teams already out there providing the opponents, the full list of the opponents for some fan bases out there, but the Cardinals haven't done it yet. But for the most part, this is as good as it gets, right? This is as good as it gets. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what game you're excited about in 2025. Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.